In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the starter motor on this Mercedes E350. Let's get into it. In the trunk, lift this latch and we can secure that right there. That'll stay up there. Underneath here, that's where the battery is located. Just use a 10mm socket. Loosen up the negative side. And slide that off, set that aside. Underneath, we're gonna remove this shield. Use a 8mm socket, take these bolts out. Grab the shield, slide it back and down. Disconnect the connectors for the O2 sensors. Just slide this out. And then just separate these, you just pull them apart. There we go, just pop those off. You might need some pliers. And pull these off. These are the O2 sensors that go up top. Disconnect those. The other one right here. There's a retainer right here. I'm just going to use a trim tool. Just pop the wire off the retainer. Go, pop that off, and then way up there's a clip. You might have to get that from up top. Yep, way up there. There we go. All right, that's released. I just want to run that around the steering shaft so that it doesn't get caught when we're taking the exhaust down. All right, that's good. Now take the wire out from these retainers on the other side. Right there. Oh, and it's clipped in way up top. This one released. If yours didn't release, you want to go up top and just follow the wire. Release it. I'm going to go over the drive shaft. And that's out of the way now. I'm going to remove this shield, use a 10mm socket, take this bolt out. On the other side, there's two 10mm bolts, take those out as well. And the shield slides right off. We're going to remove this cover, use an 8mm socket, take the screws out. And grab the panel and slide it down. I'm going to remove the bolts from the flange. I'm going to use a 13mm socket. Take the top bolt out. Oh, that slides right out. And take the bottom bolt out. Same 13mm socket. Slide that bolt out. On the other side, we're going to use the same 13mm socket. Take those two flange bolts out. go. And slide that out. We're going to remove this bracket because it's going to be in the way of the exhaust. I'm going to use a T45 socket. Take these screws out. Using a pole jack, I'm just going to support the exhaust just so it doesn't fall until I'm ready to take it down. Just right there, that's good. Now I'm going to use some muffler hanger pliers and just take these hangers off, just like this. And there's one on the other side, you want to take that off the same way. And back near the muffler, we're going to do the same thing. And just pop that bushing off, that hanger. And same on the other side. Underneath the transmission, there's 2 bolts holding this bracket on. Use a 13mm socket. Take those off. When you go to drop the exhaust down, you're going to need an assistant at the back as you bring it down. There we go. And slide it out of the way. Using a E14 socket, I'm going to take this bolt out right here. This is holding the shield on. Pull that bolt out. Using a 10mm socket, bolt further down. Take that out. That just fell. There's another one right here. Take that out. This shield comes right out. Pull that out of your way. Using a E14 socket, we're going to take that bolt out right there. A little tricky to get to. Take that bolt out. And the bolt above that, same socket, E14. Take that bolt out. Slide that bolt out. Now grab the starter, slide it forward. Just get the wires out of the way. Oh, that just popped off. Just gonna pop this harness off right here. If you want to use a pick or a screwdriver. Just pop that off. Just unfold that. Pull that harness out. You can see there's a cap over the wires where they connect to the starter. I'm just going to use some pliers just to take that cap off. I'm going to take the nut off. Use a 13mm wrench. If you're having trouble breaking that nut free, just take one of the starter bolts, get that just started. Just temporarily. just so we can break that free. There we go. Take that nut off using a 10mm wrench. I take the nut off that's lower. Take this nut off. Just slide those out of the way. I'll just take this bolt out. Grab the starter, slide it towards the front of the vehicle. You might want to take this clip off. Just grab that, slide that forward. Then you can twist it a little better. And just take the starter, slide it back. And the wiring harness is going to be in your way, so you got to get the wiring harness behind it. There we go. It's kind of like a puzzle. You got to twist it back and forth a few times. But if you get the wiring harness around the back side of it, you can twist this down and it slides out. Take the new starter, go upside down, slide it in under the exhaust manifold. You just have to twist it a certain way. Make sure the wire's not in the way. You have the wire out of the way. It's a little bit easier. Get that past. Just trying to move the wiring harness past. There we go. Now it's slipped in the right place. You have the harness over on this side. I'll just take the top bolt, this bracket that fell down earlier, get that started. Get the starter lined up. Get that started so that it holds the starter. It's easier to put the nuts on. Take the wiring harness, take the small wiring harness, slide that on first, right there. Take the smaller nut, get that started. Now I'm just going to tighten this up. If you can fit a torque wrench in here, you want to torque that to 4 foot-pounds. It's not very much. All right, just snug. That's good. Other wire, the large power wire, is going to go over the other stud, the bigger one. Slide that over. Put the nut on. tighten this nut down. And if you can use a torque wrench, you want to torque this to 10 foot-pounds. Do the best you can. There's not much room in there. Put the cap over the nut. And push that all the way down. That's good. Get the other bolt. Get that lined up. Just wiggle the starter so that's started, and we can tighten these two bolts down. Tighten those down. And get the torque wrench out. And torque those bolts to 30 foot-pounds. Take the wiring harness bracket, slide that on the starter, just like that. Slide the harness through. We'll close it up. Just use a straight blade screwdriver. Going to use a pick to try to close this. Get that lined up, just like that. That's good. I'm going to take this shield, slide this in position. This longer bolt can go back here. Two smaller bolts, get those started. And tighten those down. Snug, that's good. It's way down there. All right, that's good. Those are tight. And then you want to have an assistant help you put the exhaust back in position. Get those started. All right, I think we're good. Take these bolts, get the flange lined up, and get that started. You don't want to tighten these down yet, but just at least get it started. So you can get the other one in. And get that other one started. And on the other side, get these two started. And get that to line up. That's good, that's started. All right, those are both started. Attach the rear hangers. push those on. And same on the other side. Just slide that in place. And these hangers, slide that in place and do the same on the other side. Now I can remove the pole jack. Take this bar, get this lined up. Put the bolts in. Tighten these down. And tighten these two bolts down. Snug those down. And tighten these down. Try to tighten them evenly. Go back and forth so that the flange isn't too crooked. And the other side. Those are good. All right, take this shield, line that up, take the bolts, get those started. Tighten those down. Those are all snug. Now take this wiring harness for the O2 sensor, slide it up over the steering shaft. It's going to come down here. Oops. There we go. It's going to connect right there. Lock it down. And where the little brackets are, the little retainers, you're going to push those in place. It's going to go right on this bracket. Right there. And it's going to go on the bracket above that. Push that in place, and then it's going to clip on the back side of the head of the engine. Try to get it over that clip. There we go. Might be easier to go over that clip first before you push these in. That's good. Passenger side, O2 sensor. Slide that up. It's going to go over this drive shaft. Slide down right here. Connector right there. Lock that in place. And push it into the retainers. sure it's not going to rub on the drive shaft. And then further up, you can get this from up top and clip it into the wiring harness connector or a retainer. From up top on the back side of the engine, we're just going to clip that O2 sensor wire right there, and we're good to go. Plug the downstream O2 sensors in, push those into the bracket. They only go on one way. That's out of the way. Slide this panel in place and get the screws started. And tighten these down. Slide this panel in place. Tighten these down. Reconnect the battery, put the terminal on. Snug it down, give it a wiggle, make sure it's tight. Close it up. Put that down and close up the trunk.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.